Okay. Um, the reason why I make videos is to put things back in perspective. You hear these people via this V2K, who even when they talk to you, when they interact with you, they try to use these menacing voices. They start creating gimmicky personalities, where they try to sound in this like in a way that is just like a menacing, and it's part of the way they want you to be fearful. They will do bad things, but they try to sound like devilish in some ways, right? When they truly, but if you see who's talking, just some weak, humiliated person who do horrible things to the most vulnerable. That's their job. That's literally their assignment. And then try to like interrupt you or find ways to disorient you. As target individuals, what we are putting is in this developing of a technology that is weaponized. It's a weapon, very, very extremely sophisticated, advanced to an extreme. And they have contracted these people who literally have to be within like they create a persona. It's truly like a personality that they have to, I think, create for themselves to do what they do. As in, they even sound a certain way. You can even see their face shifting when they try to talk. Because I've seen these people involved. So let me start from the beginning and kind of make things sensical as much as I can. It's hard to explain because when I explain what happens to me, I just jump in and what just happened, and you don't understand it makes no sense because of the sophistication of weaponry, and you don't understand the background of everything. I'm a target individual. I've been a target individual since I believe 2014 covertly, but truly everything exploded in like 2019. And in August 2019 specifically, that's when I started getting V2K. What is V2K? V2K is this technology that they can propel and make you, they can propel voices in your brain directly. They can directly, remotely, have somebody speak, and you can hear that person remotely, right? And it goes directly to your brain. It's not like you hear it from like your ears or whatnot. It just directly goes in. Apparently it's an old technology, but it's a technology utilized now, and even utilized in a sense to even improved. With that being said, there's also an ability. I think it is what we call synthetic telepathy, where once they also try to rewire your brain, it becomes a, a technology that can just like slowly change you, not even slowly, fast actually, but it manipulates your brain, right? And via this technology, which I believe they use your brain pattern, that once they control your brain pattern, they can start changing things around, rewiring it, right? So they can manipulate in different ways. And for me, and this is done for weapon. They don't try to make you a better person. They're trying to break you down. They want to push you to suicide. Now, I strongly believe, and I think this makes a lot of sense, that obviously this is governmental entities, and most specifically in the international community. And looking at the historical of the CIA, being the first entities working on mind control, you can understand that they have a strong fingerprint on these things, and this development. But then they use the people around you to try to make you accept this change as if it's happening organically, as if this is not somebody who manipulates you in this way, and try to rationalize the obvious manipulations that I'm going to talk about. Some of them, some of it that I just talked about, and I've talked about many of them. And the people they contract, they don't seem to be directly linked to those entities in the sense of like intelligence community. It seems like they just contracted. So there's some kind of contractions happening where they contract these bottom feeders, which this is what I call, and these people just implement these tactics for these entities. So they are the one who are implementing, but they're not the one in charge, not the one in responsible, right? But they do their part, right? And when they communicate via V2K, they like to use these menacing voices. Right now I'm listening to this. This guy was, I'm going to explain. he was using this voice and telling me all the horrible things they do to me, they're doing to. Now, on top of that, I'm getting hit by directed energy, right? And they can control it and aim it towards specific organs, or somehow, like my organs, my kidneys, all of that, my bones are all being fried up, and the things are happening to them, to them. And you can obviously, when you hear directed energy, you know DARPA is obviously involved in this, because DARPA is the entity specifically also working on those directed energy kind of technology. So all the science shows that they obviously work in the intelligence community, or the intelligence community is involved, and these bottom feeders are contracted. We know that the Department of Defense has been contracting people for all kind of things, and those people are civilians, but they are contracted by this intelligence community entities to do what they do, right? So since then, since me being in this program in this way, where they manipulate my brain, it's been a lot of pedophilia things. I've made a lot of videos about it. And then when they do this pedophilia type of torture, which consists of me looking at a child and forcing me to get stimulations, perceptions are disturbed, dreams of pedophilia, like pedophilia type of dreams, all kind of nastiness they do to me. It's been a lot of that, and this tactic specifically is also common in the target, as a target individuals are usually tortured in this ways. It's psychologically tortured in this ways, where they try to break them down using these disturbing ways of manipulation, playing with your libido and doing horrible things to you, using your libido. It's so nasty. And with that being said, this is when they mess with me the most, and then start talking, oh, we're gonna kill you, we're gonna do. And is a way to kind of make you feel guilty for their manipulations and how they flip things around. Now, what just happened to me this evening, last night, is something I always record, but this is not the first time. You know, they played my libido extremely, right? So what happened is you have extreme, intense libido stimulations, and so if you don't release that, it gets worse for me. And I'm also, because I'm an adult man with sexual need, and when they play with my sexual libido, my sexual arousals, you have that sexual arousal still, right? But with me, they've been shifting it toward children. It's so disgusting. So what I do is brings back to reality. I watch adult content of men and women having sex, and release myself like that. And even though I don't like that, it's better than having to deal with them forcing me to be stimulated toward children. But what's happening now is they merge things together. So I would watch that climax and then make me think of a child and kind of mix things together, because they have the ability to rewire your brain like this. What just happened is this. I am in bed, and I have this thought of watching adult content comes in my mind. I know it's them doing that. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? My libido has been cranked up so much, I maybe have to do that. But I'm thinking about it, I'm dwelling about it. It's like, yeah, should I? I don't like that. Advice, this is not good. Like, it's never healthy. Like, I don't think it's healthy to do that. But for somebody whose libido is played with, and the way they use my libido is always toward children, I rather climax watching adult content where a man and a woman, and this is more like, this is me. But I also know that they can do things while that happens. But I'm still dwelling on it. I don't like to do this. It does not make me feel good. I don't like that feeling, and so I try not to do it. And even when I was normal, I was celibate for 5 months, and I'm talking about that kind of thing. And because I knew that how unhealthy that is, right? And it's just adult content. They try to call it something. They call it something. And they're like, this is child porn. If I show you what I'm talking about, it's so disgusting. The way they try to change that into something else. I'm talking about two adult men and a woman having sex, right? And they try to be like, no, this is child. It's so nasty. And they say that because also they say they're going to implant child porn on my computers, on my devices. So you understand that they have this very strong pedophilia ways of just messing with people, which also the coincidence of these entities like the CIA filled with pedophiles just kind of adds to these things. I don't know. the correlation really, but it's just nasty that these people who do this pedophilia type of torture, actually the entities who contract these bottom fears are filled with pedophiles. Um, so, anyways, and my libido's cranked up, and they give me the idea to watch adult content. I'm like, okay, maybe like I should do. My libido's been cranked up through the week, and I think that'll be maybe something I can do. And it was like, okay, and maybe it will help me sleep at some points. But I, I'm like, okay, let me think about it. And then I think there's a random thought, which is them making me think of, oh, look at this person. So I was not with some perp, like I was not with her, but there's this perp that, you know, unfortunately, we were kind of together. And she's like, oh, go through her text. I'll go through her text, just I don't know why. It just came in my mind like that. I go through her text, and I forgot that there was a picture, because they do these pedophilia things. And when they do the pedophilia type of things for me, I always take the screenshot of what they've done to me and talk about it. If you go through my channel, you'll see a lot of that. And there's a picture of this little black girl, where it's a woman when she was a very little girl. It's so nasty. And I was like, oh no, I know what they're gonna do. I saw this baby. What's gonna happen in my brain is, if I do go watch adult content, they can merge things together. They can make me imagine her, that little kid, at the end. Once you climax, you can implant that kid, and it becomes something mixed. It's so disturbing. I know it's hard to understand what I'm saying, but they have the ability to rewire your brain in such a weird, bizarre ways. That's, even though this baby has nothing to do with what I'm watching, they can try to merge things together. And now, when you look at this baby, you think about the climax you experienced earlier, when you were watching this adult content. It's so disturbing. It's so disturbing they can do these things. But this technology rewires your brain in such a weird, disturbing, disgusting ways. And to them, this is what they do. That's their job, right? And they're supposed to get you to believe that, oh, we have proof. But when you say this out loud, you hear how, how like disgusting, nonsensical it is, that they use these tactics to try to break you down. And so then they try to be like, make you feel guilty. So going back to the story, of what happened to me, one of many stories that they do to me, I'm like, I don't want that merge to happen. I never mind. Let me go to bed. I go to bed. I wake up at 11, and I'm still like, it's 11. I can't sleep, and I'm like, okay, maybe, I'm gonna try to ignore the baby that I saw earlier. I'm gonna, at least I slept a little bit. I'm block out this thing. I'm gonna try to, because I'm awake. I cannot sleep, and maybe that will help me sleep, right? Once I climax, maybe it will help me sleep better, right? It will help me just like sleep. Unfortunately, and so I'm like, okay, let me watch the adult content, climax, and hopefully that's gonna relax me, and I'm gonna be able to go back to sleep, because they are keeping me up. They do that on purpose. They can wake you up at any point and make you like, sleep deprivation is something you hear a lot. They can make you not sleep if they don't want you to sleep. So I'm like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch adult content. I was thinking about it earlier, but because I saw that kid, I didn't watch that, because I know what they're gonna do. But now a few hours have passed, I can try to block it out a little bit better. So I watch adult content, a man and a woman, two adults having sex. I watch that. I try to focus on that. Climax. As I climax, I feel some weird, disgusting feeling. They rewire certain things, and then at the end, they start putting that kid in my head and start merging things together. They rewire you to connect things together. It's so disgusting. It's so nasty. And immediately they talk about, oh, you see, we're gonna rape you, we're gonna torture you. Do you see what happened? This is what they're doing. But it doesn't end there. They're like, oh, but remember, we're matching with what you did when you were a kid to yourself as a 8th grader. That's matching. And they truly try to make you subscribe to this, because what I did as a kid, I did something stupid to myself when I was an 8th grader. And they're trying to say that what just happened now is just like us matching to what you did as a kid. Delusional. Then literally in the midst of like rewire my brain when I'm watching this adult content to just shift it to the little girl. Literally controlling my brain in this way. It's obvious that my brain is being forced to merge things like that. Do you hear what I'm saying? To try to get connected, and they're like, no, but remember what you did as a kid. Yeah, what you did to yourself. Remember that time? Yeah. What we're doing right now is just matching. And try to get you to understand the logic of that. Now, and then while obviously the logic is just that, what you just heard, you hear this person try to using the gimmicky voice they create. They use, and what I mean gimmicky is like they try to sound in this devilish way, like meaningful, like menacing voice, and try to implant fear, right? Because listen, they will do bad things. They're doing things to my body. I can feel that. But at the same time, they talk like this. We're gonna kill you like that. Yeah, you're gonna die slow, and then it won't. And then that's the way this person is making themselves talk. This person is making himself talk this way to create this menacing ways of like, you see what just happened. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. It's like, what? I'm watching 2 adults having sex. You are trying to implant a little baby in my head. And you're saying you're matching that. This is matching to me when I was in 8th grade. I'm almost like tempted to show what I was watching, but it's adult content. It's two men. It's one man and one woman, adult woman, having sexual moments. It's like, no, we matched it, and it's just illogical. But I'm like, they're ruining. Like, it's just, I don't want that merge to happen. So, unfortunately, and I'm gonna be transparent, I'm not perfect, and I don't like watching adult content, because once you do it once, you don't want to stop. That's how it goes. I want to be frank with what happens with me. I want to be frank with my manipulation, how they disturb me. And it also, I have to mention who I truly am. That adult content to me is something that is not something I will celebrate for a purpose. And my celibacy was specifically to not watch adult content, because I know how unhealthy it is, and how like you can be even addicted to it. And so I in the past I tried to refrain myself, and I did months of just celibacy because of I know how toxic and unhealthy that is. And so I'm like, I'm not going to let like, I don't want the way they've merged this thing with utilizing this little child and implanting my brain and merging it together. I don't want that to happen. So let me try again, watch the adult content, climax, and like make it obvious, like just get this away, right? I do that again, watch this in a woman and a man having sex, and then climax, and when that happens, they do the same thing. They put this black little girl in my head, and you see we match it again. And they're like, no, black little girl makes you want to watch porn. Black little girl makes you want to go see a man and a woman have sex. Do you understand how disturbing it is? It doesn't even make sense. But they're like, you see, now it's proof. When in reality, before I even saw this black little girl, obviously I had ideas of going to see adult content. And then they always try to merge these things together. And try to say, see, this black little girl is the reason why you want to go see a man and woman have sex. And sometimes they can create that feeling too. They can create that feeling which is disgusting, where they make you think of black little girls, and I've talked about it in the past. It's crazy. I have made videos about this, where they make you think of black little girls and like make you think of porn or adult content, and try to combine those two together and make you like shift those things together, which is obviously them manipulating. That's in reality is the opposite. That will make me not think about that. But that's how they've been rewiring me. And so now, once I'm finished climaxing, watching adults having adult moments, they merge the black little kid into that. And to them, that is validations. What I just said to you, as illogical as it is, their job is to make me think that this is validation for them. And once they do this nonsensicalness and I speak about it, the scripts, most target individuals will say that there's some kind of dialogues and scripts that these perps use. The scripts they use for me are some of they're random things they say to try to disorient you. Oh, that's not fair. It's not fair. And that not fair means that, oh, it's not fair that this entity is contracting this low life filled with pedophiles. It's not fair that we have to manipulate you and merge these things in these nonsensical ways. It's not fair. And then the other things they say is like they're gonna rape you, or they're gonna torture you. And it's all of that is just to try to make sense and make me try to identify and make logical sense of what I just said to you. And they want you to be like, yeah, you see, we proved it. The reason why I tell the stories of what's happening to me, which is what is happening to me, is one to depict my targeting. It's been a very disturbing manipulations. A lot of it in my libido, and a lot of it try to rewire my brain to look at and think about kids in these pedophilia ways. That's why they want to merge kids with adult content. So I start thinking about kids in a sexual way. That's what they do. It's nasty, but that's what they do. And then they try to be like, no, what's happening to you right now? We're just matching you when you were a kid. It is disgusting, but that's what they do. And then because I do have, adult content is something that once I watch it once, I feel like I want to watch it. The addiction of adult content can be real. So that's why I don't want to watch it. They can easily make me want, oh, let me watch more. And so every time they make me think of watching more, and they make me think of a child, or make me think of a child, and then make me think of watching more adult content. Try to combine those things together so they can train my brain to look at children in a sexual way. It's so disturbing, but that's what they do. And so you have to understand that what I just said, their job is to make sense of it, make me make me feel intimidated and acceptive and scared. You see, that's proof. Hear what I just said. There's a grown man and woman, multiple people, using menacing voice and be like, we're gonna kill you, they're gonna torture you, and like, this man, this is what he does right now for a living. I know that the humiliation of what I'm saying, they want me to look at it as if this makes sense. And the humiliation of what I brought up, the fact that they actually do this pedophilia type of torture, and on top of that, this entity is contracting this low life are actually pedophiles, watching actual child porn, not these people wishful things they say, or whatever they're gonna implant. These people are trying to rewire my brain to look at, when I think about children, try to make me think of an adult and a man and woman having sex. This is delusional. And then they use these childlike individuals who have no shame. Of course, they're children-like individuals, and will go into their repetition and try to sound agitating. My job, target individual, is I hope that my stories are somewhat and you can understand some of it, meaning that it's clear, but I understand if it's not, because it's so hard to explain what happens to your brain when they manipulate you. Because one, you don't even understand that this technology is actually existing. You don't understand this technology that rewires your brain in these ways, where they can control how they can rewire you in these disturbing ways. But if you don't believe that, please go listen to a lot of other target videos. There's a lot of that happening. There's a lot of rewiring of the brain in disturbing ways, and very pedophilia centric. I did not listen to them and like, oh, no, that's what they do. They rewire your libido in these ways, try to manipulate you these ways, and condition you in these disturbing ways. And it's disgusting. But that's what they do. And I hope my stories kind of make sense. But if you have doubts, every time in a lot of my videos, you'll see testimonials of other people who say these things that I'm saying in different version. They try to change who I am, put in thoughts of pedophilia. They make me smell this thing and then do the pedophilia type of torture. They are forcing me to get sexual stimulations, and they aim that toward children. They do this manipulation of thoughts and perceptions. Almost all target individuals are forced to see child porn. In their mind, they force you to imagine children in these disturbing ways. Imagine. Make you have imaginations. So this is things they do. And so me telling the story is, first of all, I know this purpose of watching me. I want to make sure that they see themselves and hear themselves and the way they have to live their life. Because regardless of how horrible my life is going to be, it's not going to make them any better. I mean, when I mean any better, I mean their life is not going to get any better. So my purpose is also to make sure that you understand why. At the same time, I'm also want to make sure that target individuals who are figuring out, try to find out what's happening, know that this is not, like, this is what they do. This is truly what they do. They do these things. They make men and women experience these things. As I'm saying that right now, here are some of the scripts. You'll bum. We know that target individual, a lot of us are being pushed to homelessness. You'll be raped and whatever. They say they're going to frame me using child porn, they're going to implant. They tell me how my body is just breaking down. I think he was saying something about my jaundice or something about my liver, my kidney, which, yes, they are destroying my organs and even my bone structure. And those are scripts to disorient you and confuse you as I'm speaking about what they do psychologically. So to all my target individuals, stay strong and know that justice will be done for the nastiness they do to people.